Wholeness, wholeness, everyone. Welcome to Notes of Nara. This is Naja Rashida here, and we're here on a Saturday, live, raw, authentic. Here I am. I'm in my car, so it's going to be yet another car talk. If I had it where I wanted it right now, would be in the middle of nature, surrounded by plants, indoors or outdoors, surrounded by trees and grass. But this is real life, okay? So please, you're gonna hear the noises of life, sounds of life around me. So yes, a much needed update on what's going on. So I'm in the middle of doing, taking care of my personal business this weekend, wrapping it up with my first year of grad school. Yeah. So I'm going to go for I like the idea of just only uploading once a week right now. But with that, I'm not going to have the videos like in this free for all, free flow. I'm going to create a time stamp so that whatever topic you find interesting or you like or you gravitate towards, you click on it and watch it. Okay, I think that's fair. I don't mind the free flow type of uploads, but at the same time, I respect your time and I respect your energy. And given that this is a very digital, synthetic space that we're sharing each other, I want you to respect my time as I respect yours, right? And vice versa. I think we all need to just practice mindfulness. So I have a little outline. So what I have here is the mind, okay? Self-care. So, I have to say, with the mind, taking care of the mind has been an incredible challenge for me since moving back to the Midwest. I don't per se, I look at things in a very metaphysical perspective. I don't just look at what's right in front of me, but I look and I feel and experience things deeply. I allow myself to do that. Most of the time we're trained and we're conditioned and we're programmed to shut those senses off and to just focus primarily on what we can touch, taste, hear, see, emotionally feel, and we fragment our consciousness into the past or into the future, and we leave the present moment, right? And then so we end up chasing around fragmented parts of ourselves that we can't really get to because we don't really realize that we are all of that. We don't need to go anywhere. We don't need to do anything or become anything. We just need to allow ourselves to be. And so with all that, saying all that and how that connects to my life right now, my goodness gracious, it has been a challenge. I have to, be honest about my own mental health, because here's the thing, and I brought this up in several of my videos about the role of the empaths and how it can feel like a gift at times and it can feel like a burden. And so this year, yet again, I realized certain patterns I find myself with my mental health. I tend to put my health in general on the back burner. And this shows up in the ways of if I attract a new relationship into my life, that relationship is my focus. The well-being of that person becomes my main focus. Their desires, their dreams, their concerns, their fears, their hurts, all of that becomes my main focus, and I become like the healer for them, and I neglect myself. With careers, and usually the careers that I've gravitated towards, I'm very attracted to career paths of service, so meaning public service, public health, public education. And this is where I found myself in the past 10 years. I've been going back and forth. And with this back and forth in this space of service and being a servant pretty much to, the public, I make that my center, so either I externalize the energy that I should probably be putting into myself onto my career and or onto a significant other. This is a hard truth for me because I'm all about, oh, I'm independent, oh, I can lock it down, oh, I'm good, I'm Gucci, blah blah blah. And that's not really the case. Pushing 40, I'm 36 years old. God willing, I will make it to my 37th birthday this winter. I'm a November baby. November is a weird month, but my mental health, and going to therapy and really taking care of myself, I think it boils down to this. Those of you who struggle with taking care of the mind, body, spirit, and you're an empath, or you don't have to be an empath, right? You don't have to be all up in your feelings all the time, but just in general, it's just a human being or having a human experience. If you have trouble spending money on yourself, investing in your health, getting that massage, setting up that appointment with that therapist, getting blood work done, getting your going or visiting a chiropractor, getting certain tests, cancer screenings and kidney screenings, making sure that your white blood cell count, all of these things that keep the physical body together, for mental health, right? And mental health, truly, it's about having your support system outside of yourself, outside of your connection to spirit and God. It's okay to go to your Jesus. It's okay to go to your Allah. It's okay to go to your guru, but you really need to have a strong support system when you're facing some mental exhaustion like I have this year. Okay. Have that one friend, that one phone call, and it doesn't have to be multiple times a week, but just every once a month, maybe, at least that, have that mentor handy and go to that therapy session, because a lot of spiritualists, we tend to over spiritualize everything, and then we end up excommunicating people who really their role in our life should take a much larger space than just us isolating everyone else from our space. So, really make sure that if you are facing mental exhaustion, mental fatigue, just burnout, make sure that you formulate those strong, healthy connections with people on a consistent basis, at least once or twice a month. Just check in with somebody, because you can be all independent and all, oh, I don't need anybody, or I don't like people. Like, bullshit. I'm calling bullshit on that. We're social beings. It's built into our DNA to be social, communicable people. Okay, we are communal. We are very tribe-like. Okay, that's just the part of nature for our species. So anyone who's saying I can do it all bad by myself, you need to hire a therapist, okay, and help them process some mommy daddy issues. All right. And I'm not saying that as a joke. It's real. It's real deal stuff. And it's, some people are at peace and content with being completely alone, but there's difference between being lonely and aloneness. And I think, yes, that aloneness is an experience within the self that you have to sit with. You're not running away from that oneness within. You can still maintain relationships with other human beings and still maintain the connection to all oneness within. And moving into the body. So recently, my body's giving me alarms. It's just ringing. The body will speak to you. My body's been speaking to me through dreams. My sleep has been shit. It has been shit for probably the 2 years. And look, because I'm so, I think, hypersensitive to people and sharing energies, whether that's I'm living with a family member, or I'm living with housemates, or I'm living with a lover, I am very sensitive to other people. And when I'm sharing a space for a significant amount of time, there are a lot of connections that are made on many, 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 many different levels. Not just sexual, not just emotional, but so many different dynamics play in the role of sharing space with another human being. And so when that there's a separation, that tends to it takes me a long time to really process, integrate, alchemize that whole experience. I just need the time and space, you know, and I enter back into that aloneness, all oneness again. I don't cut everybody out of my life. You know, if you're toxic, unhealthy, and downright just spiritually dangerous, I'm not gonna fuck with you. Like, it's just pinpoint blank. I don't hunt down old friends. I don't hunt down old lovers. I keep it moving. And that's the healthiest thing I could do for myself, and that's the healthiest thing I could do for the other person. But the body keeps the score. And I need to read that book, actually. It's the title of a book that was recommended to me by my mentor. But the body keeps the score. The body keeps the score, guys. Today, I went to a chiropractor. Oh, God. At first, you know, I think the first time I've been to a chiropractor, I got an adjustment when I was like 14, 15 years old, so many years ago. But recently, I've had my body is like, it's freaking out. I store so much energy in my body. I underestimate how powerful the physical form is. And that's kind of a tricky thing with spiritualists and with people who are metaphysical, who are in the occult, or in just very spiritual and connected to things beyond what we can see, you know. You don't mean to, but in time you kind of neglect the body, because you know that the body is just the vessel. The body is like a capsule. It's a vehicle for a certain amount of time, and there's an expiration date. There's an expiration date for me. There's an expiration date for you. There's an expiration date for everyone. So spiritual people, you know, people that are just are dive into the web of consciousness, we tend to sometimes struggle with being like in body, connecting to body, and maybe due to past trauma as well, which plays a huge part. So for me, the alarm call that my body is giving off is like, you have to move and shift this body. I can't just do Ashtanga, right? I can't just go running. I can't just go to massage therapy. I can't just go to a chiropractor. I can't just go to the doctor and get blood work done. I can't just, you know, just juice. I have to do all of those things and make those actions and those habits my lifestyle, to really incorporate this new era that I feel like I'm entering into right now in my life, where it doesn't feel strange or weird or odd to go get an adjustment at the chiropractor, or to go get a massage, or to get my feet rubbed, or to get, you know, some testing done to make sure that my levels are good. Because middle-aged women, I feel it. I feel 36. I'm very youthful, but I feel shifts in my body that weren't there 5 or 10 or 15 years ago, you know? And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm open to the evolution of the human form. But with that being said, listen to the body. The body keeps a score. The body has a voice. The body has a language, and it speaks to you. My body speaks to me through dreams, through synchronicity, through pain, through discomfort. I'm a small framed woman, but I'm pretty tall. Okay, I'm about 5'9" or 5'10". All right, I'm perfectly imperfect. Okay, or perfectly imperfect, or imperfectly perfect. I don't know how you want to say it, but with that, it's the body is always speaking. And with all this, you know, self-care with my mental health and with my physical health, I will say this: it's so interesting. It all boils down to your worth. You have to ask yourself why you're neglecting your physical needs. I'm horrible with sleep. Horrible. I think I feel like mentally I go through a lot of anxiety, and my body goes through a lot of anxiety too. Wherever the mind goes, the body follows. So my mental anguish and anxiety, my body becomes anxious, and I have trouble going to sleep. Once I'm asleep, though, I'm sleep. But I notice with work, you know, with teaching and at the school and with grad school and all the in-betweens of that, anxiety is just, my body freaks out. It's like there's so much to do, there's not enough time, there's so much to do, and I find myself procrastinating, or almost in a way like it's like the saboteur archetype, where you're just, it's like you become frozen. When you are so mentally overwhelmed, the body feels that tension, because I notice that right before I go to sleep, I'm thinking about all the things that needs to be done, or that I didn't get done. And then when I wake up in the morning, I think about all the things I need to get done. Then I hope that I'll have enough time to get done. And that's what I'm waking up with. And that's what I'm going to rest. Right before I rest, it's the same thing. And yes, I meditate and I do my spiritual practices, but it's been a challenge. And I notice that it's crucial. If the mind and body are disconnected, you're going to have a hard time. You can desire and have a certain mindset, but if that mindset isn't crystal clear and you lack clarity, the body is going to be confused. It's going to freak out, like it does when you start getting in shape again, going to the gym again. It hurts. It takes at least 2 solid months for the body to get conditioned to whatever you're trying to condition it to do. So, and then the subconscious mind will follow, right? So, with that, yes, listen to the alarm calls, the bells and whistles that the body is giving you. Listen to them. Listen to them, okay? Next, I want to talk about spirit. So on this channel, I've opened up some about spirituality, spiritual practices. If you look back in my early posting or uploads, I was doing energy readings, you know what I'm saying, in my own interpretation. But I just believe your spiritual practice should just be private, right? I feel like there's so much information out there for you all. I don't feel like you need to know. I just don't feel like it's something I'm called to do right now. Like, I know how to do energy readings for myself and I use spiritual tools, but I just think that the way it's being used on the digital platform is literally, the main focus is to gain fame and monetary gain, and that's just not what I don't want to fall under that umbrella. Even though I would never charge, I don't want to fall under that umbrella. That's something that I feel like privatizing the processing of my energy, or energy in general, I think is just between me and source and myself. And anything that I feel moved to share with you, I rather channel that through creativity. And here we go. So I know I've mentioned before music channel, and I'm coming to the conclusion that art, music, I feel like is the fastest and quickest way for someone to experience your consciousness and to experience your spirit, experience the hidden messages of your soul. And that's what I want to do. I can do all the alchemization and the rituals and the meditations privately between me and spirit, or spirit and I, and then channel all that excuse me, through music. And I'm really excited for that. I'm really excited for that. I want it to just be, it's not even what I want anymore. I want something that's bigger than my ego to guide me with the direction of what that looks like. And there's tons of inspirational musicians online that it's just, they're so in alignment of where I want to be and what I want to try. But at the same time, I want this experience to be, excuse me, something that you all can enjoy and I can share, and that take precedent, be the main focus of what I do on this channel. It's not like I don't mind talking and sharing with you guys, but I just find it's not necessarily very needed anymore. And so, and if I get a whole lot of no, no, Naja, no, we want to hear you talk. We want to, I mean, I can sit with source and meditate with that, but in the other, I just feel like there's something else that that wants to come out and needs to come out, and I want to share. So, but yeah, let's talk about something else too. So, the journey of celibacy and the practice of celibacy, I think, and this is like a reflection, if anything, with men and women, I believe it is a very different experience and different reality. Men, they are, to me, electric. They are external. They have to externalize their energy and their force to create. They really do. They have to put in a lot of effort for life to come about. And they lose a lot of energy when they, have an orgasm. They need a lot of recovery time to reach that space of homeostasis. Women, it is completely different. Women, when we choose to reserve and conserve our sexual energy, our life force energy, we can actually take that life force energy and alchemize it and put it in or to heal the body. We don't necessarily, when women have orgasms, you can literally with intention use that to heal your body, your physical form. Both men and women can use energy to go deeper and go higher and to heal themselves. And to create and manifest their their desires by I don't want to come off like a big know-it-all. I can't necessarily speak for all men. I'm not here to do that. I can only speak for women because that's the experience that I have right now in my life and in this body. But that's my observation, and truly, which I'm going to bring up again in this video, intention. When you're practicing a practice like Brahmacharya, or Brahmacharya, I think that's how you pronounce it, which, it's something between you and the divine. It's something between you and source, you and God. It's a sacred, sacred, sacred relationship that's always been there, but you begin to realize and you begin to decalcify yourself from the illusion of separation. And I find that there's a certain kind of beauty and peace and contentment with celibacy and self-preservation in that way that can be healing. So yeah, I just wanted to share that reflection because the research I've looked into online, there's a lot of men, no fap, and if you want to become a magnet to all women, like, it's very, you get what you ask for. And if that's your intention to become a magnet to any and all women and any and all opportunities, that is what you shall experience. You have to be intentional with your celibacy practice just as you would with being sexual with a partner. It's the same amount of responsibility either way, because I know the downsides of celibacy, and I know what it's like when you lack intention and it's ego based, and it's all about vanity and righteousness, self-righteousness. You will be knocked down and humbled, and I have been humbled before, right? So be intentional with your practice and keep it private, and yeah, I'm up here saying keep it private. It's just something, it's between you and consciousness. It's just your relationship with the body, with the energy, with your spirit, and there's so many benefits of this practice. There's so many benefits. The subconscious will begin to really unlock itself for you and show you your inner world and share its inner secrets, which is you, right, to yourself. It's like yourself begins to show itself to you. just because you're conserving your energy. You're not externalizing it without purpose. And most of the time when we're externalizing our life force energy, it's because, oh, I love this person, right? So this is what I want to do. I'm lustful after this person. I'm attracted to this person. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of like, I was driving today. I'm thinking to myself of a moment in my life where I think I was like maybe I was 3 years into celibacy, or just complete abstinence. And I met an individual, and I ended up shaping myself to fit his desires. I completely pushed Naja out of the way and was trying to appeal and appease to this person. This person wasn't an evil person or bad person. They were just a person, you know? And it's like when you're sitting, I was watching this guru, and look, and I don't follow gurus or anything like that, so don't get it twisted, okay? I'm very much like to say that I think for myself and make choices on my own. So I'm very aware, okay? But there was a video I was watching, and he was stating that, you know, in celibacy, when you're feeling this strong desire and horniness, don't run away from those feelings. Yes, you don't want to act on them, but don't run away from those feelings. Don't suppress, don't oppress. Feel and move it. Feel it throughout the whole being, right? And you can dance, you can exercise. That's the perfect time. You know, I think the best channel for sexual frustration is to work out and to clear the mind, you know, and move that energy out and around and within and without the body. And again, with self-righteousness, let that shit go. You're no better than anybody else. Okay? As you can see in society, there are groups of religions, or groups of people in specific religions that practice, so they say, celibacy, and they end up hurting people. I don't need to get into that, but we all know. Okay? If you don't, do research, but not everyone's built for it. And I truly, it is a calling. And for some people, it's for so many years. For others, it's for a certain short amount of time. For others, it's a whole lifetime. It is something personal, just like sexual identity. That is a personal experience between that person and whoever they're sharing that part of themselves with. Society has nothing to do with that. Your family have nothing to do with it. Your friends have nothing to do with it. It's the person, it's you and or the person that you decide to share that part of yourself with's business. And when people make their sexuality other people's business, that you're messing up too. Because there's nothing righteous about it's like, oh, free love, free this. You know, it's like the 1960s hippie thing, like, all is love, we're all one, and just free love for everybody. No, there's action and then there's consequences. So yeah, it's just, I wanted to share a few thoughts on that, because, you know, it's a beautiful thing to hit pause and sit and just be you. You don't need to, and I'm not looking down on people that, you know, decide to merge their energy with another person. That's what you do when you become sexual physically with another person. You are merging your biological genetic DNA with another person. You just are. Okay? Even with protection and condoms and all that, you are blending metaphysically. You're taking on their karma, they're taking on yours. Good and bad. All that is healed in you and all that is unhealed in you. That is something human beings do not want to hear that shit. They don't want to hear that truth. They really, really don't. Because it's a hard pill to swallow when you are laying next to somebody and you know that their spirit is sick. Don't you think that if you sleeping with somebody day in, day out, right? You establish a intimate relationship with them day in, day out, week after week, month after month, year after year. You take on some of that person's essence too. No, that's a whole lie when people are like, oh, we can have friends with benefits. Oh, I know I can screw without feelings. That's a fucking lie. It doesn't matter. It's not an act that cares about your feelings. It cares about the energy exchange. Feelings, intention, when you're intentional behind your merge with another person, intentionally, that makes it even better. It makes it even more powerful and part of the all. But when you put two fragmented people, or multiple people, because that's, fragmented people together, so I'm not looking down on people that are all about free love. No, do you, if you love it, I like it, do you. Oh man, the stories I can tell. But it's very fascinating to me. And that's just a personal belief I have when it comes to merging your life force energy with another person or multiple people. That's a thing. And I'm not trying to label anybody good or bad here. It's just, it is what it is. Energy is energy. Energy never dies. We can label it all we freaking want to. This is good energy. That's evil energy. Energy is energy. So that's that about my reflection on the celibacy practice, and between men and women. I can go on and on and on, and the benefits of it are just, but there's also benefits of merging your energy with another human, with another life force. It's all beautiful. It's all beautiful, whether you're merging your energy with another, right? You can also heal each other that way. You can heal yourself, and you can heal the other, and they can heal you. Or you choose to be celibate, and you conserve and reserve your energy for you and source, for the divine, for God, the God in you, not out there, within you. That's why they over-sexualize everything. They need our creative life force energy. We are ignorant and primitive when it comes to the very nature of sexuality. We think we know, we think we have an idea, which we do. There are things that we do know. There are things that we do have strong ideas about. But we're still very ignorant and primitive. So just food for thought. Okay, another idea, how I choose to live. Oh man. Recently, and I'm not going to go into it because there's no reason to, but it involves work. But I'll say this, it involves executive order by President Trump, and it's affecting multiple industries: healthcare, education, traveling, everywhere, everything, everybody, okay, globally. All right. It's making a lot of people uncomfortable. I believe that you have nationalists, and then you have globalists, and globalists are being labeled as communists, and then nationalists are being labeled as fascists. Democrats are labeled as globalists, communists, and then Republicans are labeled as fascists, nationalists, right? Racist, all that. And here's the thing, I have been fighting this lifestyle of I've been fighting myself for a while. I think back in 2014, I just had this call to just live nomadically, live out of a bus and travel, and live my life. And each partnership that I found myself in, they just weren't gung-ho about the idea, or they just lacked resources, or it wasn't part of their calling. And living how I live, and I don't have furniture, and I don't have a lot of stuff. I've all my life I have felt more at home on the move, more centered within myself than hunkering down somewhere. I feel more feelings of hiraeth, which is a Welsh word meaning like you have such a deep, you're missing something that you haven't yet experienced, or you have experienced something but you can't name it, you can't remember, you just have the feeling. And it's a really weird phenomenon, and if you get it, you get it, right? Hiraeth is a very frustrating thing. It makes you feel like you are an alien in society and in the world, and like everywhere can be my home, and then at the same time I don't feel like I belong anywhere. I just, ever since I was a little girl, my mom, for whatever reason, we traveled a lot, man. She would take us on her art exhibitions and art excursions up and down the East Coast, and to art museums and stuff. We were just exposed to a lot growing up. And on the trips, I just felt like I felt more a part of the world when traveling. And I feel like being stationary with a purpose is helping me. Like, grad school, like, okay, I'm here for grad school. I'm here to study. I'm here to get my license. Like, it's intentional. And there are other, I think, reasons I feel like I was called back to my home state, to work through some things and to really re-identify and recalibrate my intention for my life. I think it was needed, if anything else. I have no regrets moving back here. Has it been rough? Yeah, it has at times, not all the time, but like right now I feel pretty clear on why I'm here. But usually I don't get the deep insight that I need about why I was in a place until after that contract is done, after I have fulfilled the reason, the lesson, that, and I leave the place, whether it's the city or the state or the region or a country. That's when I say, oh, okay, this is what I learned. This is what needed to be exposed about myself. This is what needed to be addressed. This is what needed to change. This is what needed to stay the same. And so that's just been the pattern all of my freaking life. And I'm done trying to fit in the freaking mold, paying rent that's not going anywhere. It's keeping me in somewhat like as kind of like a, this is going to sound really ass backwards, but like house slave. Like you're a slave to a landlord you never see, you never meet, and all this money isn't investing into your future. It's going directly into the pockets of a landlord or of an landowner. And then you purchase a house, which I never felt the call to own a home. I think homes are beautiful, but I never felt like, oh, I have to find my dream home. Like, I never felt that before. I've seen beautiful homes throughout my travels, but it's like, it's not like a necessity. Like, I need to be a home owner. I want to pay a mortgage. I've talked to so many homeowners that they're struggling. I'm like, and their house is paid for, but they're struggling because they're having to pay property tax, and property tax keeps going up and up and up and up and up. So you mean to tell me that renters are, all that money is being pocketed into the landowner's pockets, no investment there, and then the mortgage is going into the pockets of the state or federal, whatever, right? Which, I mean, I guess you can get a home can be an asset depending, I guess, but it just seems like a lot of people are really struggling. There's always some kind of housing bubble, and then there's the housing market, like, oh, you don't buy a house now, or this is the perfect time you buy the house, and then it's the worst time to own a home. It's all a scam to me. Home is where the heart is. Be at home with yourself. Very easy to say as a single child-free woman. Very easy to say that. So I don't poo-poo people that are paying mortgages. I don't poo-poo people that are renting to keep a house over their family's head. I don't know. Everyone has their designated path. Everyone has their designated lessons that they have to learn. I just don't appreciate it whenever I share the idea, which I usually don't. But, you know, people literally look down on people who don't live in a home. And I think if anything, it's more out of jealousy, to be quite honest, you know. What does it really mean to be free? You know? But the promise I'm making myself is I don't want to leave this world with any regrets, any hatred. I want to leave with forgiveness. I want to leave with contentment and peace and wholeness, to be honest, not peace. I don't want to leave in pieces. I want to leave whole and complete. And I want to leave with forgiveness, because there are some issues I'm working through right now. But yeah, nomadic living to me, you know, because I always thought, like, especially like with dating or something, I'm like, oh my gosh, if I do, you know, if I do meet an individual, if they're, because this is something I've always done. I've always morphed and adapted to the people around me, especially with romantic partners. I've always morphed and just, I would break down eventually. Okay, let's get that TV, let's get that couch, let's get this, let's get that to make you feel more comfortable. And it's never really been the other way around. And it's like, you really do, I'm in the space of my life where you really do have to make sure that you're compatible. Compatibility is critical. It's critical. 20s, not so much. 30s, your late 30s, yeah. If they're not living how I'm living, it makes it that much harder. And because it's a different set of values living nomadically. It's a different approach with money and finances living nomadically. It's just a different mindset and attributes you have to have compared to someone who lives in what they call sticks and bricks. You know, and maybe eventually I'll purchase a home, and with money saved, purchase a home, and then 6 months out of the year I'm traveling. You know, I don't know. I'm excited. I really am excited. It feels so freeing to accept this about myself. Yeah. And then intentional living, like making sure you know your why you're doing what you're doing. It only should matter to you. To my singletons out there especially. It's a whole nother programming when you have a wife and children or husband or dependents of any kind, because you have to consider them. However, singletons, men and women out there, listen, you have to know your why, because what I've discovered is people will project their narratives on how you should be, how, you know, you should react, how you should respond, what you believe, you know, is right for you. Don't let that be you. And it's okay. Sometimes you say, why am I doing this? And then you're like, you know what? I don't know. I don't know why. Let's sit with that. Sit with that, lack of clarity. Sit with that confusion. Because all answers reside within. You just have to create the space for the God to activate within you, to let you know the answers. That takes patience. That takes surrendering. Get out of the effing way. That's hard to do. That's hard to do. It can be quite the challenge. So that's a reminder. And then also, simultaneously, living in flow, man. I would never want to know how everything would pan out in my life. The ego wants to know because the ego needs to control. But had I known how things would have turned out with the happenings in my life, would I have done them in the first place? No. Or maybe, yeah, who knows? I'm weird like that. You know? If someone said, hey, this is your death day, this is how you're going to die, how would you live your life? Would you live it in fear, or would you live it to the max? From womb to tomb. From the space between the womb to tomb, use this time to prepare yourself for that transition. Prepare for death by having many, many, many deaths during life. That makes the portal that much wider and that much more open when the time comes for you to leave the body. But yeah, that's what I wanted to share with you all. Be out on the lookout, I guess. Can't wait to share for next weekend. I hope you guys are enjoying the day of Saturn. Oh, sorry. Saturday. Oh, you know what's so trippy about religion is that, like, many of the modern day monotheistic religions are they embed so many pagan rituals and practices in the faith of Christianity and Judaism and Islam. It's not even funny. Unbelievable. And people just, oh yeah, I went to the movies with my dad and saw Sinners. And I'm gonna say this and then I'm gonna get off. Racism. Wow. That might have to be another video. Sinners was good. It was actually quite good. I will say this though, because racism has come up pretty heavy in the space where I work, and also just in general, when I do catch wind of what's happening, news snippets and stuff, white versus black, it's a big fucking headache to me. I'm not saying that I'm not trying to minimize the black experience. I'm not trying to minimize the white experience. But racism to me, it's almost like when people are that judgmental simply out of judgment, out of the color of their skin, because they believe that the skin color is symbolic for something else. It's symbolic for a specific story, a specific narrative that they deeply, deeply, deeply believe in, based off of the amount of melanin in the skin and the features that are on their face and hair texture. It's almost like a mental illness. I feel if not a mental illness, it is, maybe that's too far. A person to me is mentally unwell. You're mentally unwell to me if I'm having a discussion with you and you bring up judgments based off of somebody's ethnic makeup, genetic ethnic makeup. In the few years of my medical experience and seeing death up close, it's bullshit. That's what that is to me. I've taken care of patients who are covered in Nazi tattoos with swastikas. Very sick. Had to walk the patient to the bathroom. Had to comb out knots in his hair because he was too weak to do it himself. Do you think I was really worried about that man? The man's tattoos? Or a dying patient had the tattoo of a Star of David? Or a man that happened to be gay and have HIV? It's... We're primitive. How can we be so advanced as a species? Yeah, let's go to Mars. And we can't feed society. We can't feed or give clean water. How to figure out and innovate how to purify water for all humans on the planet. But we want to go to space. We want to go see the stars. That is so dissonant to me. so fragmented. It's just, it boggles the mind. I don't like that type of frequency. And this is why, like, I want to step away from the digital world, because it's so full of that shit. Cognitive dissonance. I had a student, multiple students, yell at a teacher who happened to be Caucasian, young, very young, and calling her racist, right? Because she read the N-word from a book. Yet these kids, children who are, you know, brown and black students, literally calling each other Nigga all day, every fucking damn day. I snapped one day and I told him, I said, what do you think, how do you think white people perceive you, black boy and black girl, when you're calling each other the N-word? I said, to them, you sound dumb. You sound ignorant. You don't sound cool. Because to them, when they use that word, all those centuries ago, all those years ago, not centuries, all those decades ago, it was a put down. You were a second, third class citizen in this country. But now it's cool. And then you have the audacity when a teacher is using the word in the classroom as as part of your educational exposure, as part of learning in a lesson. You yell and berate her and call her I'm like, oh my God. Teachers cannot raise your kids. We need y'all help, parents. I had one girl come up to me, one African American girl come up to me one day. She says, hey, miss, I need you to come and follow me. The bell rang. It was the end of the day. I said, okay. She pulled her friend to me, another African American girl, and she said she believes that slavery never existed. She was dead ass. Meaning she was serious. I looked at the girl, I said, I didn't know. I was silent. And she looked at me, she goes, yeah, that's totally, like, untrue. And the slaves were paid. I'm just giving you a small, like, 5% of what is going on in our schools. You would think with all the access to the digital age, with all this information out there, you would think, right? No. You would think, but no, that's not the case. She was so serious. It's almost like saying the Holocaust never existed. It was all fake. I visited a concentration camp when I was traveling in Germany. Help! If anything, I want to send an SOS out to space. Help! Help! Get me out of here! Help me! This world is so, like, it's so beautiful, but so fucked. Like, I'm sorry, language, okay? Language, alright? But, it's so fucked up. Like, how? It's like conflict. Like, what is resonant and then dissonant, and it's coexisting with each other. And something's got to give. We all want to come up for air because we're suffocating in it. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Yeah, I just had to get that off because The Sinners was a good movie, and you should go see it for sure. As a music, I mean, I thought it would be more music in there, but there was some music in there. There was some music. I don't like the use of like demons and demonology in film, because that you're playing with portals. Okay, anything on film, anytime you're using what's the word, media, the creativity as a means to express a message. So you're writing a book, or because I've read books where, man, they open stuff up. Okay, music, dance, all of these art forms, these genres in the art world, they are so powerful. They can open and unlock things. So going into if you are going to see sinners, be sure that you balance out, burn your sage, do your thing. But there's a lot of messages behind that, especially when it comes to the American identity, what makes America, right? But the racial issue, I'm getting tired. I'm getting freaking tired of it in all my days. It's just in the hospital, like, you see people bleed, and they bleed red. You see them piss, they're pissing yellow. You see them shit, they're shitting brown, and it doesn't have anything to do with the color of their skin. I held the hands of dying men and women. I don't get it. And that's one thing working in the healthcare that I really liked. All the social, like, upper classity people, and all the people that are homeless and poverty, all that shit fucking went out the door when they're gasping for air and fighting to live. Right? One might have better insurance. One might not have any insurance at all. But we're all working as a team to keep their ass alive. That, to me, is why I liked it, because all the facade, all the illusions just fade away. They just fade away. We had all kinds of people roll up on our floor. Oh, she's the daughter of so and so. Oh, he owns this company. He's the CEO. Right, and she had a massive stroke that almost killed her. Okay, who gives a shit? Happens to be white, or happens to be black, or happens to have 5, master's degrees, or happens to work in a, high level government job. Who gives a shit? Who gives a shit at that point? So as an educator, seeing this shit play out in class, it's so hard for me to watch. Like, I don't know what parents are teaching their kids. I don't know what the fuck they're teaching these kids. I don't know what these kids are seeing on their phones. Whew, man, the stuff I hear. Golly. It's so frustrating. I don't mean to curse so much in this. I don't. There's a lot of anger and I'm shooketh. Because this is our future, But one of the main reasons would be to leave the U.S. I mean, racism, judgment is everywhere. But I you know what? I will say this. I'm glad that I'm seeing it in the era that I'm alive and young and able to realize what's going on in the world. Let me know. When people are like, yeah, I'm racist, yeah, I hate black people, or I hate white people, or I hate... Let me know so I can not fuck with you. Let me know so I can stay away from you. Thank you for telling me. I think if anything, that's a benefit, I guess. But to try to convince someone that's so fragmented in their consciousness that where they're at is keeping them stuck, it's concerning. It's concerning. Maybe I think what will break the human issues with like racism and like cultural identity and stuff is if like there is a whole another alien extraterrestrial race from another planet that just plops into our world. Oh shit. I wonder if we would unite. You know what I'm saying? but then become us versus them. I don't know. I don't have all the answers, but it's so freaking frustrating. God. Or maybe there would just be so many mixed and interracial couples that we all start looking alike. That way you can't say, well, I'm biracial. I actually, I'll say this, I'm going to get off. I know I just said that like 5 minutes ago, but I'm noticing a shift, and yet another cultural shift. It's not just kids, because it was kind of rare to bump into biracial. I mean, biracial kids have been here for millennia. Who cares, right? But I noticed, though, that there are a lot of interracial mixed families, right? And it dawned on me that some of my personal, like students I have a personal relationship with, like I see them every day, teach them every day. And some of them are actually multiracial. So their parents may be biracial or and then their other parent is, multiracial or biracial. And so where do they fall? And I see sometimes that they struggle with it. Even with the shade of their skin. Like, okay, I look more white, so I'll hang out with the white crowd. Or I look Mexican, I'll hang out with the brown crowd. Or I'm dark enough, my features are more Afro, I'm going to head on over to the dark side. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, I see it. It's so interesting, And even with me, I don't think about it, but I'm like, I consider myself a black, melanated African-American woman, right? But some people, they say, oh, well, you have features and whatever. I had a friend of mine point that out to me like I didn't already know, but I did. And I have light eyes, and my bone structure is, is atypical, right? And that plays a role in how the society deals with me and how I deal with society. And I see that all the time, though. I live that. Like, it's not a shock to me, but I guess it was more shocking to her because she saw it up close at her workplace, with African American women, interviewing for a job, that's just something I find so beneath me and so beneath our intellect. It's beneath us. I have so much hope for and optimism for humanity that I believe that racism is beneath us. That's my mindset. All that energy we're putting into Black Lives Matter or All Lives Matter or I hate black people or I hate white people or I'm a victim of racism. Like all that shit, all that energy we could be putting somewhere else. Do you think the elite care? No, they don't. They use it as a narrative to keep people divided. They don't give a damn what they give a damn about is if you have a lot of money, influence over the masses, and a platform to influence. That's what they care about. And if they can manipulate you to do their bidding. Oh, you're a multimillionaire? Oh, you're making $500 million a year? Okay. Join us, or we shut you down. Like open up your podcast and talk about Black Lives Matter. Open up your podcast and talk about White Lives Matter. Open up, we keep this division going. We need you. We'll give you this, and this, and you're set for life. Your kids are set for life, but you got to play by our rules, or we'll expose your dirt. Because we can't have humanity united as one. We cannot. There's way too many of them and less of us. So we got to keep everybody divided. Pro-abortion, anti-abortion. Right? Transgender, heterosexual, normative, whatever. Right? Blue, red. Right, left. Anti-feminism. Feminism. Like, I'm fucking sick of it. I'm tired of it. Tired. I think that's my rant on social observations, if you will. It's just, it's getting old. People keep asking, you want to have kids? You want to have kids? Kids are the light of God. I keep saying that. They're the light. Children are the light. But to raise them in this, I have the deepest amount of respect for any mother or father that choose to raise their children in this. You got my mad respect. You got my mad respect. I saw when I was running errands, there was a daddy of four kids. 2 blonde ones and 2 dark-haired ones. The youngest had to be about 2 or 3. And he was like, you know, they're all in line. And dad was keeping cool. And I don't know. He could have just been uncle and had nieces and nephews for the day. Who knows? I'm projecting a story, okay? But, yeah. It was just, and the cashier was just like, and I was like, oh my God. Because the kids were just like, you know, they're all over the place. And the dad was like, okay, calm down. Give him the cheese, blah, blah, blah. Stop that. No, where did he go? You know. He walked off and I'm like, bless him. May he receive all good things so that he can provide for those babies. Because, woo! It was cute. It was so cute. I have a lot of respect for mommies and daddies. I don't look down on parents. No, I'm not going to do that. No. It is an honor to be a mother. It is an honor to be a father. It is an honor to accept the role of parenthood. You become a spirit guide and manifest. You're a manifestation of a physical human spirit guide for another human being. What honor that is. So honorable. Yeah, I know. I have a little bit of baby fever, so don't get on me. But still, I have to be rational and logical about my decision making when it comes to parenthood. Okay. All right. Well, that's it. Gave you guys a solid hour of my time. And you don't have to sit and watch the whole thing. Come back, you know. Watch a few minutes and move on to something else. Come back, watch it, you know, another section. So I'll make sure to timestamp this, okay? But thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you guys next week. Have a little gift to share with you. So, all right, take care. Bye.